Welcome to Kayfabe Crimes, the podcast where wrestling is not an alibi. I'm Kim.
And I'm Alan.
And together we are going to investigate crimes committed by AEW wrestlers in the last week's Dynamite and Collision. So we first obviously have to go over some rules in case you are a new listener. First things first, we're not counting anything said in promos because then everyone would be in jail for like a million years. Like, the point of a promo is to rile up your opponent. The second rule is anything that happens during a match that the ref sees isn't counted. Anything that happens at, like, bell to bell, it's all legal, unless, of course, the ref doesn't see it. Then that counts.
Okay, so the first crime we're going to talk about is after the match between Monet and Billy Starks, where Billy Starks had disregard for her own back the whole time. Monet kept the bank statement on her after the match had happened. The referee rang the bell, turned around to go and speak to Justin, and then came back and pulled her off and stopped it. So what do you think?
I reckon that's common assault. Assaults. So common assault is when a person inflicts violence on someone. It doesn't have to involve physical, but obviously it does. This says spitting at someone is another example. No one should spit. It's disgusting.
See, while I agree, obviously it's common assault. She's attacking her. She's after the match. If you look at it from like precedent set by other sports, for example UFC, if a contender keeps a hold on after a match the bell has been rung, nothing really happens to them. It's seen as a like heat at the moment type thing. If they carry on after the referees told them to stop, and then that's when they start looking down on them and things start happening. But I feel like because Money stopped when the referee came afterwards, it was like heat of the moment, adrenaline. She was just like, yes, I've got this in, I'm not going to let it go type thing.
I suppose.
But I also agree that obviously it is common assault, so if you want to go down that way and push that way, I'm more than happy to agree with you on that.
See, I do think it's assault. Like, I think you can't... I think that even in other sports, it should be counted as a crime.
Okay, so we could set the precedent for ourselves that while we're doing this, and for Kayfabe Crimes, that if you hold a finger on after a match, that it counts as common assault.
Once the bell's rang, it's assault.
Yeah, I'm happy to agree with you on that one.
So, common assault. So, now we're going to look at a table for how long they would normally get. We've got to determine their culpability, and determining the offence category, and then the harm, and then we combine the two.
Yeah. So let's look at the culpability first. So, are they highly culpable? Did they mean to cause fear or serious harm, including disease transmission? So yes, straight away I think she meant to cause the harm.
Yeah.
She held on to the hold. She's doing the damage. It's not accidental. So I don't think was the victim vulnerable due to age, personal characteristics, or circumstances? No. I mean, she's a child, but like she knows what she's doing. She's there. Mm-hmm.
Prolonged, persistent assault. It was prolonged, but not for that long. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that counts.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you need to be... Like, we're going to go through all of them, we'll just talk to them about all of them anyway. But I think you only need to hit one of these points for it to count as a high culpability. And so then, like I said, we'll still talk about it because it's interesting to talk about. But for actually counting towards the offence, I think you only need to hit one of these points. And so, because you hit the first one, it counts.
Okay.
So you just done prolonged. So use of substantial force. She was whacking on her neck. She's trying to break her neck, basically.
She was definitely pulling on her pretty hard.
Yeah.
And then strangulation, suffocation, and asphyxiation.
I don't think bank statement actually is strangulation because she's got hold of the top of your head, pulling your neck back. So I don't think it's actually it's choking you.
But it covers your mouth and your nose.
Yeah, I suppose you could argue
suffocation.
That. You could definitely argue that. Yes, a good lawyer would argue that.
It would count as suffocation to me, but she was suffocating, I'd say.
Or strangulation, yeah. Threatening or actual use of a weapon or weapons equivalent. She wasn't using any weapons.
Leading role in group activity wasn't a group activity.
For lesser culpability, it's a lesser role in a group activity.
Mental disorder or learning disability were linked to the commission of the offence.
excessive self-defense. Definitely was not in self-defense.
No. All other cases not captured by category A.
No.
So we are going high culpability.
Yep.
Next, we're going on to the level of harm.
Mm-hmm. So category 1 is more than minor physical or psychological harm or distress.
I wouldn't say so.
No. Category 3 is no very low level of physical harm or distress, and category 2 is in the middle, minor physical or psychological harm or distress. I'd say because the referee got her off in quite a quick bit of time, and Billy Stark probably did more damage to her own back than Monet did.
100%.
I'd say no, very low level of physical harm and or distress.
Yeah, I agree. So we are A and
A3.
3, which gives her
Starting point of a fine or a low level, or the highest range is low level community order.
So she's getting community service, picking up rubbish on the side of a motorway.
Yeah.
If that's a thing that happens in the UK. I don't think I've ever seen that.
But
But whatever the British equivalent of that is, I don't know.
Cleaning graffiti.
Cleaning graffiti.
Yeah.
It has to be dirty. I've decided it has to be really dirty because she'd hate it. Also, I just want to say how amazing it is seeing Billy on TV. Like, she deserves it.
Yeah.
She kicks ass on Ring of Honor.
While I've had my problems with the Billy Athena program, feeling like it went on well too long, and that she should have won last time if she was going to win at all. The fact that they've moved her over to AEW, and hopefully she stays in AEW from this point, and you can see how much she's learned from Athena, is just brilliant to see it all coming to light on the TV.
No, I agree. 100% agree.
Okay, so you've got the next one.
Yep. So I'm going to combine these two because they happened basically at the same match. So Megan threw Stat into Tony, which is assault on both Tony and Stat.
Well, does it count?
I mean, Stat doesn't really count because it was part of the match.
Yeah.
But you get my point. And then after the match, Tony tapes up. She gets in the ring and starts hitting Megan until security have to come in. And even that doesn't stop her. She's still going after her. Tony then pushes 2 security guards and goes back after Megan. So
there's quite a lot to break down here, isn't there? So as you said, with the Megan throwing Chris into Tony, Megan and Stat are in the match. I don't think that counts as anything there.
Like, the ref didn't stop that.
No, and obviously I had to Google this just to make sure it was a thing. I don't. Did I save the link for this? I don't think I actually saved the link. I'll bring the link up and show you later. There is a Google search that when it comes up, does throwing somebody at somebody else count as assault? And yes, it does. I just wanted to make sure before we went down that route that actually does it count as assault? Sidebar: while I was doing the research, as I typed in, does something assault count? Does this count as assault? It came up as, does farting on somebody count as an assault?
Please tell me that was a yes. Because
yes, it
gross.
was. It does count as it is. Farting on somebody does count as an assault. So yes, I did click that link. Yes, it does count as an assault.
So does that mean domestic abuse happens in this house?
What? Because you keep farting on me?
No, you fart on me.
Anyway, let's get back to Megan and Tony.
Yeah.
So I think it does count as assault.
Definitely counts as assault.
So we break this down then. Is it common assault or is it ABH? So we have a look at the definitions again.
When you were doing your Google, does the person being thrown count as a weapon?
No, they don't.
So they don't count as a weapon.
No, I don't think they do. No,
because that's important in deciding this. Like,
yes,
they use a weapon.
I totally get your points. Yes, but no, it doesn't count as a weapon. So from what we said before, common assault is when a person inflicts violence on someone else or makes them think they're going to be attacked. It does not have to involve physical violence. Threatening words or raised fists is enough for a crime to have been committed, provided the victim thinks they are about to be attacked. ABH means that it's a bit more than just a general quick attack. It's more than trifling and transient. It means it at least caused minor injuries. I don't think it's caused any injuries. I think it is just a trifling. She got somebody chucked into her. Yeah. And Luther tried to pick her back up again, while Tony was crying. Tony Schiavone, not Tony Storm.
Schiavone. Like, no!
So I think it's going to count as common assault.
Yeah, I'm going to say a common assault for that one.
Okay. So going through the same list as before. So first we've got to determine the culpability. Was there an intention to cause fear or serious harm, including disease transmission?
No, definitely not.
Well, it was. Yeah.
Maybe actually, I was focusing on the disease transmission for some reason. Intention to cause fear or serious harm.
Fear of serious harm, yeah. Was the victim obviously vulnerable due to age, personal characteristics, or circumstances?
No.
Was it prolonged, persistent assault? No. Was it use of substantial force?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I'll give you substantial force if you threw somebody out. It's not just like a quick thing. So I'd agree with you on that one.
And
nobody was strangulated. There was no weapons used, possibly.
Technically.
So I don't know how you define a weapon. And it wasn't a group activity. So I'd go with A again, straight on that one. Yeah.
I'm going A.
Mm-hmm.
And then the harm, I'm going 3 again.
Yes.
Like very low level of physical harm or distress.
Yes, I think it's going to be the same again. She gets another community order. So what are we going to sentence Megan Bain to? I feel like she'd be like, she's probably enjoying something like picking up rubbish.
Oh yeah.
And throwing it into the bin. So you got to think of something else.
I don't know. Like,
I know what, because she thinks she's better than everybody. She's like big. She's like this big girl. She's like, she's the best. And I think go work in like a care home for a couple.
That's what I was going to suggest. She has to go and clean old people.
Yeah. There we go. We've given out that.
So she is giving sponge baths to old people.
Okay.
And after the match, Tony tapes up and goes into the ring and starts hitting Megan.
Yep.
So you found something here.
Yes.
What is reasonable force of self-defense? Because we could say it was self-defense, or she could try and say it was self-defense because of what happened before.
Mm-hmm. But there's this bit under self-defense. So it's running after them with the intent to cause harm when then you are no longer acting in self-defense. So, for example, because Megan got in the ring, and at that point where Tony was on top of the ring taping her hand up, Tony was no longer in any fear of being hurt or anything like that. It's no longer counting as self-defense because she's now seeking revenge rather than self-defense.
Yes. So, unfortunately for Tony, it's not self-defense, which means we are going back to her sentencing.
Yes. So, I think it's common assault, but then if you add in that she was also pushing around 2 innocent security guards as well.
Yeah.
It obviously she's getting 3 different people involved in that there. Obviously, I don't think it counts as ABH, but I feel like coming down to the sentencing, it would possibly be leaning towards that because I don't think a community order would be issued for something as 3 people being attacked.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So we have a quick look over the ABH rules to see if we can fit it into that. So that it actually, because it's a bit more than just a common assault, I feel like.
So I think...
So we go through them again. For culpability, start with at the top, high culpability. Was the degree of planning or premeditation?
You could say it was because she had the tape. But did she...
Yeah, but
go on.
I think it was more of an opportunistic.
Yeah, I was going to say, I imagine Luther probably had the tape, but he always carries the tape for her.
He's got big pockets. He'll have loads of crap in there for him. The victim obviously vulnerable due to age, personal characteristics or circumstances. No. Use of highly dangerous weapon.
No.
Strangulation. No. Leading role in a group activity.
No.
Prolonged or persistent attack.
Prolonged, yes.
Yes.
And persistent because she kept going.
She kept going. She kept trying to fight her way through and she pushed 3 different people out of the way. I don't know if it's going to be high capability, but I think that's what we might be leaning toward at the moment. Yeah. So let's go through B to see if it comes.
Medium is a useful weapon or weapon equivalent, which doesn't fall into category A.
Yep.
No. Lesser role in a group activity. Again, no. It wasn't a group activity.
Yes, you count beating security guards as a group, but I don't think it does. I think it's the other way around.
Yeah, I think they mean the person doing the offending is the group.
Yeah.
Case is falling between category A or C because factors in both high and lesser categories are present, which balances each other out,
yep.
and or the offender's culpability falls between the factors as described in high and lesser culpability. So
let's have a look at C then, because it might fall into B if it has characters of C as well. So C is lesser culpability. No weapons were used. Yes.
Yep.
Excessive self-defense. Technically, yes, because she was. You could argue that she was doing self-defense because she was attacked first. So I think it leans over into excessive self-defense because she ran after her. If that makes sense.
I guess, yeah.
Impulsive, spontaneous, or short-lived assault, and a mental disorder or learning disability were linked to commissions of the offence. So I think it leans into C.
I think so too, because it was spontaneous and short-lived assault. Yeah. It didn't really last that long. No. And it could be determined as excessive self-defense. Mm-hmm. So, are we going for ABH in category C?
I think ABH category C. I think. Yeah. Do you agree?
I agree.
Okay.
So the harm, some serious injury or some psychological harm.
Mm-hmm. That's category 1.
Category 1. Category 2, falling between category 1 and 3. Mm-hmm. Or category 3, some level of physical injury or psychological harm.
With limited impact upon victims. So I think it's going to be 3.
I'm going for 3 because Megan was able to fight back without any issues.
Yes, limited impact upon her.
And even walk away. Mm-hmm. But then we've got the security guards.
Yes.
Which I think might be 2 because we don't know how injured they were.
They're not trained wrestling professionals, but on the flip side as well, they were only pushed over. They weren't punched or kicked.
True, that is true.
So I feel like category 3, but rather than sentencing her for all 3 assaults on each one of them, I think it should be just grouped together as I feel like the judge would kind of just give community service for the 2 pushes on the security people.
Yeah.
So I feel like it just be category 3, and then it was harm 1, culpability C. So C and 3, wasn't it?
C and 3.
So C and 3. So
26 weeks custody.
Oh, yeah, that sounds.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Yeah.
Are we including Megan in the assault on this one because she also pushed security guards, didn't she?
No, she didn't. We can pause it and have a look at the video to double check.
No, I believe you. Your memory's better than mine.
Yeah, but no, I don't think she did. I think it was just Tony that pushed the security guards.
Okay, and then in this case, it would just be self-defense.
Yes, because she's been
okay.
Technically, she's already been charged for this part of the assault because she's getting charged for being thrown stat into Tony. So I don't think she needs to have another charge on top of this. It carried on into the same fight for her, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 26 weeks for Tony, and then it was community service for
Megan.
For Megan for that one. Okay. So
that was it for our crimes of the week, at least for Dynamite. We've still got Collision to go. So we shall see how that goes.
Yeah, because Tony decided to be a great guy and schedule it over 2 days, so we're having to record bits before we normally would on Monday because we've got doctor's appointments on Monday, and Tony didn't even think of that. So screw you, Tony.
I mean, Tony Khan, can you not consider the disabled?
But yeah, on the last thing on here is we want to talk about other things, but I don't think there's anything other that we can really talk about than Mox getting holes in his back.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It knocked me absolutely sick, I'll be honest. I did feel a little bit sick, but I loved every fucking moment of it.
Same.
Up until Utah
tried to pull it out.
Poor young boy Utah tried to pull it out of the house.
You were screaming, leave it in for the doctors, leave the doctors to do it.
I think that I don't know if it was meant to go in or if it wasn't meant to go in, but Utah was totally lost, and he should not have been anywhere near trying to pull that out.
No, and the ref was also trying to get it out, but they were just pulling his skin. They didn't do it safely. They were just. The skin was coming with it.
Get Doc Samson, let him do it. Oh, but I loved it.
But I also live for it.
Yeah, exactly. I absolutely fucking loved it. More deathmatch shit in mainstream TV, please.
Yes, please. Oh, I think that's it. We have all we have right
so
now.
We're going to take a break until Sunday morning.
Yeah.
But for you, it'll just be 2 seconds, and we'll see you in a bit.
And we are back with Collision, which had a disappointing amount of crime. But of course it did have some. And the first one we have to talk about is, of course, the hot dog. So during the trios match of Hobbs, Rocky and Briscoe versus the Don Callis family, Cage throws Rocky out of the ring and Lance holds him down whilst Don, aka the hot dog, kicks him with a shit-eating grin on his face. So we have to break that down. Lance holding him down is assault in itself.
Yes, but for myself, if we start counting every part of a match where a wrestler does something illegal that is part of the match, we're going to be there forever. So I feel like Lance, because he's part of the match, gets a bye on this one a little bit.
Okay, but originally you said anything that happens that the ref doesn't see.
Yes, okay, I do understand where the conflict in that is. But I feel like with that, if you're in the match already, and especially the tag match, there's going to be little digs and like things, punches, kicks here, low blows, which we see a bit later on as well. We will be there forever. I think maybe treat them like tag and fuse matches, unless it's like proper like swinging a chair at somebody's face, maybe should get a bye on this, because like I said, with tag matches, the heel team is very sneaky all the time, and they are going to be causing a lot of trouble, and we'd be there for about 2 hours every time there's a tag match.
I mean, I guess you're right. I will agree with you for this time, but I think we will ask for other people's opinion as well. Just see what they think.
We'll maybe I'll put a poll up later on, and we'll have an ask. So
anyway, Don kicks Rocky with a shit-eating grin. I hate him. I hate him so much.
Okay, so I think it's pretty obvious a common assault. It's it was one little quick kick. So let's break that down. We're going to break down using those same tables we used last time. Again, all these tables will be available through our website. I will leave links on that, which is kayfabecrimes.com.
So we've already gone through these in the other half of the podcast, so I'm going to skip it and say the culpability was B, lesser culpability, because it was just one kick, and he was a lesser role in the group activity.
Yeah, so on the B, lesser role in the group activity, and it was just one kick, like you said. So I think B, lesser culpability does sound like a perfect match for that one.
And he is lesser.
And so for harm, we've got the 3 categories again: more than minor physical or psychological damage, minor physical or psychological damage, or category 3, no very low level of physical harm or distress. I think it's going to be 3. It was one swift kick. It carried on. So I think, if I remember rightly, that means it's a community order.
Low level community order. So, oh God. What is the worst thing we can do for Don Callis?
I feel like something to do with working in America at the moment would really wind him up.
Yeah.
Work in a convenience store in America for a couple of weeks. I think that would really wind him up in like a full-on MAGA Canadian hating part of the country.
Oh my God, yeah. Let's do that one. Let's do that. I like that.
You like that?
Yeah.
That's put a big smile on your face, hasn't it? Okay, so the next crime we're going to talk about is at the end of the trios match, where it was Top Flight and AR Fox versus the Death Riders, and the Bowser brothers, Leo, Rush and Action Andretti, come sliding out and they attack them, and then they take their pencil tiny thin necklaces off and start trying to choke the Top Flight. So we're going to have a look. We had a quick look up before whether choking somebody was going to be counted as attempted murder. And for it to count as attempted murder, the person has to have the intent to kill the victim.
And we don't think they did.
No.
Not with those pencil necklaces.
No. I think it was just an attack, and he obviously did want to hurt them, so I think it's going to be maybe a bit more than common assault, because it wasn't just a quick punch. It was more than trifling or transient. So I think it is going to count as maybe actual body harm with this one, rather than just common assault. But I do not think it would count as attempted murder.
So the ABH needs to cause some minor injuries, and I think being choked out with a chain would cause some minor injuries on your throat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we both agree?
Yeah,
ABH?
ABH, 100%, yeah.
ABH. Culpability. I don't think we did ABH in the last half, so we'll go through the culpability.
Okay, so for being highly culpable, it's a significant degree of planning or premeditation. Victim obviously vulnerable due to age, personal characteristics or circumstances. Use of highly dangerous weapon. I don't think the necklaces count as a highly dangerous weapon.
No.
Strangulation, suffocation or asphyxiation. And that's what it straight away there.
Yeah.
A leading role in a group activity or prolonged or persistent attack. I think it's use of a highly dangerous weapon. And it was kind of like a prolonged attack. They did a couple of kicks, a couple of punches, and they pinned them down and choked them out. So I think...
And it was a group activity.
Yeah.
So they've got 3 for higher culpability.
Yeah. So I think I don't think we really need to touch on the other ones. I think it sounds straight away it's high culpability. Now with harm, I'll let you go through these ones.
So category 1 is serious physical injury or serious psychological harm and or substantial impact upon victim. I don't think it's that one.
No.
Category 2 is anything falling between 1 and 3. And category 3 is some level of physical injury or psychological harm with limited impact upon victim.
Yeah.
I'm going with 3.
Yeah, I think it's going to be some sort of injury comes of it, but obviously we'll see it over time, and maybe we might have to push it up to the category 2. But at the moment, from my point of view, I think it is a category 3 harm on them. I agree with you on that point.
Yeah, I think if the refs hadn't come out and stopped it would possibly be category 2. But it did get stopped before that point. Yeah. And that's where we have to focus.
Yep. So category 3, so it is
A and 3.
A and 3.
1 year, 6 months custody.
Brilliant. So,
each.
Yeah, each. So do you want to go and type that into the box for me? Just 1.6 next to it somewhere, and I'll work it all out later. Okay. So next, it's going to be you talking about what happened with Bandido and Jericho.
Yeah, Bandido punches Jericho after he puts on his brother's mask and asks him, what are you going to do? Are you going to cry like your mother? We've briefly discussed this already. I think that counts as self-defense because he was provoked. And I have a link that goes for it. I think
that's the one where
So, is it still self-defense if you hit someone first? Questions need to be asked, and it's the first one I'm just going to focus on. Was there a need for force? Yes, I would say that there is.
Okay, so from a personal and maybe moral standpoint, I do agree with you that maybe Jericho does deserve a good punch in the face for stealing his brother's mask and making his mother cry. But from a legal standpoint, any lawyer worth their salt, which Jericho will be able to afford about 20 of them, let's be honest, is going to argue that there was no need to be forced to be used there. There was no threat against Bandido himself. Up until the point of Bandido striking first, the Jericho learning tree were actually quite calm, and they were just talking. So I don't feel like self-defense on Bandido's point would be actually classed there, unfortunately for you.
I'm still going to disagree with you. I'm still going to say it was self-defense. So I don't know how we're going to...
No, I strongly disagree with this because, from a legal standpoint, just because somebody says what you're going to do about it, you're not going to... that is not going to stand in any court anywhere where you're not going to get arrested for punching the person for saying that. If the person was right in your face, being mean, threatening, whatever, yes.
He kind of was, though.
He wasn't. They were part in the ring.
He was asking him to punch him.
No,
he was asking him to prove his worth, prove that he wasn't gonna just cry like his mum.
Yeah, okay, but that's still not a legal defence for punching somebody in the face. So I think we might be at an impasse on this one, and I think we might have to ask the audience on this one and see what other people think, because I strongly don't think that it counts as a defence. I think Bandido is in the wrong here and he should be charged for this. And you feel like he's not in the wrong here and he shouldn't be charged for all this. And I don't think we're going to be able to get past this. I think we are in coming from two different directions on this, and I think the only way to determine on this would be to ask the audience.
Okay, I will leave it up to the audience.
Okay.
But something I can't leave up to the audience. God damn Hotdog again. Like, he called Kyle Fletcher the god of pro wrestling and called him Kyle by God Fletcher. Excuse me? Like, hello, why are you doing this? I mean, I know why you're doing it, because you're a cunt, but like, this is what Kenny has been called forever. And I know it's thanks to you calling him that, but oh my God, I can't believe he did that. I just...
Your face when that... I looked over your face and I've never seen you more angry, I think.
I can't even articulate correctly because I'm so mad that he did that. I just... Kyle didn't even continue with it. He just went on with his, I'm a proto star. Which is fine, stick with that. You're not the god of pro wrestling. No.
Right, so while Kim has a breakdown, I'm going to carry on.
I might cry.
Kim's crying in the corner. I'm going to carry on and I'm going to talk about the next part. So, during the tag match at the end, the lucha tag match at the end, Jericho held on to Abraham to try to defend himself from an attack, and then I don't know why he dropped him before, just literally as the attack was going to happen.
Yeah, I don't understand.
It's like
that.
if you're gonna use a human shield, keep hold of the human shield. I don't know why you let him go, but you know, you did. But I think that is gonna. We look again. We looked it up, and it does count as assault. So, in cases where physical violence occurs, whether that's pushing, grabbing someone, or other physical forms of contact, so it does count as a common assault. It's important to note, while this may sound quite serious for a charge of a battery under the common assault to apply, any injuries suffered will be very minor. So yes, I feel like holding on to him again is going to count as a common assault. Now we obviously discuss whether it's going to be high culpability, low culpability, or if it's going to be and how much harm was done from this. So we've got to decide whether it's high culpability or lesser culpability. So was there intention to cause fear or serious harm, including disease transmission? Yes.
He wanted to cause fear,
yeah. He grabbed hold of him. There was an intention behind it to scare Abrahantes and to defend himself. Was the victim obviously vulnerable due to age, personal characteristics, or circumstances? In a wrestling sense, in the wrestling scene, I could actually argue that yes, maybe, because he is a manager, he is not a wrestler. So does he count as being vulnerable under that? I don't think he'd count himself as being vulnerable, which maybe that's the most important part of that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'd say
possibly.
Potentially under personal characteristics.
Yeah.
Because he seems very fragile.
But Hamptons, I don't think you're fragile.
You just give off a fragile vibe. And I think that's good, because I think that you could actually beat the shit out of people. So keep that vibe, keep it going, and then just punch a bunch of people.
Was it prolonged or persistent? No, it wasn't. Was there substantial force? No, he kind of just held on to him. Did he strangulate him or suffocate him? I don't think he did.
He didn't even have his arm around his neck.
No. Was it threatened or actual use of a weapon? No. And was it a leading role in the group activity? I don't think it was. He just grabbed hold of him to defend himself.
Yep. So with the intention to cause fear, I'd say it's a high culpability.
Because, as we found out one of the other ones, if more things fall into the less culpability, it might just count as less culpability. So was it a lesser role in group activity? No. There was no mental disorder or learning difficulty involved. Excessive self-defense, and all other cases not captured by capture A phases. I think possibly in between the two, so you could argue either way. So I think I'll agree with you with high culpability. On this one, yes.
But then
With
we're going to
harm,
go straight category 3, I think.
Yeah, there was
very low level.
There was very low
harm.
level. Yeah, I totally agree. He was just grabbed hold of, and that was it.
And then let go immediately, basically. So it was
A and
3.
So it's a high level community order. So it's not just going to be some menial task. This one. So, what are we going to give the risk low to do as a community order?
I don't know, because I'm not really thought about the high level community and like the low level.
Okay,
all of the.
Let's scrap the high level then, just as a community order.
I just want to give them the worst that I can imagine for them.
Yeah.
So.
I reckon it's going to be because he loves pulling masks so much. I reckon he's got to clean all the luchadors' masks.
I was thinking something very similar.
he's got to take all the luchadors' masks home with him, and he's got to clean them for a couple of months
by hand.
Yeah, because there's going to be some sweaty masks in there as well.
I will agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and then later on in the same match, the Beast Mortos grabs Abrahantes and throws him on the floor. I feel like from literally what we've just said before, I feel like most of that actually still meets exactly the same criteria.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much difference between the two difference. So for a community order for him, I feel like it's going to kind of be ironic if we get him cleaning out like a farm's, like going to the farm, go into the cow shed and clean out all the shit, basically. Yeah. I think that kind of fits.
The worst shed in the country. He's going to clean that out every day for a couple of months as well.
Yeah. I agree, a couple of months.
Yeah. Because it would be ironic.
Yeah.
He is the beast. Speaking of, though, they need to stop saying about his mask. It's not a mask. It's just his face. He doesn't fight in a mask.
Come on, Nigel. Stop trying to do this and talk about masks and like trying to say what isn't a mask. Nigel, why are you trying to find out who Harley Ram is?
Right, you don't do... I was thinking the same thing whilst we were watching it. You don't do that with any other luchador. You don't like, ooh, who is under that mask? Let's reveal it.
Yeah.
So leave Harley Graham alone.
Leave Harley Graham alone.
And can we get a reality show of the Beast and Harley Graham's love, please?
Yeah. The Bachelor or something like that.
Yeah.
First dates.
Yeah.
First dates, Harley Graham and the Beast Mortos.
Yes, please.
Being awkward at a table together. I think it'd be really fucking funny.
Oh, I need it.
So, again, as at the end of Dynamite, there was a bit if we wanted to talk about anything extra. What I wanted to talk about is how I'm so happy that Collision is keeping the spirit of Rampage alive just a little bit. Because I know I am, and I think you are the same. We really miss Rampage.
Yeah.
It was when I used to work full time, it would be the one thing we'd watch together on a Saturday morning without having to worry about spoilers, etc.
Yeah.
Because I'd been in work all week, we didn't have the chance to watch Dynamite till after I'd come home. And we'd sitting on the couch together. First thing Saturday morning was just our depressed, like decompressed time, and one of my favorite things to do every single week was sit and watch Rampage.
Yeah.
And since it's been gone, I'm very sad that it's gone, and I'm so happy that the spirit of it is being left alive a little bit within Collision with all the luchador stuff that's been happening, because Rampage was the home of the luchadors, and it just brings me so much joy seeing them on the screen every week on Collision now.
No, I agree. I miss Rampage. I don't think I have anything to add, other than it was weird that both collisions, the opening match was a title shot instead of them being the main event. But
I think that's just TK being TK. I know he likes to open with title matches when he's got a basketball game beforehand.
Yeah,
open with your best shots type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the luchador matches are the best shot. But I
for
get
me
it.
as well, for if you want to catch the basketball audience, a luchador match would be perfect, because anytime you see anything go viral online, it's either the gnarliest of chair shots or hardcore matches, or luchadors doing something stupid and crazy off the ropes. They're the ones that get viral, and I think would be a good way to catch a more audience, bringing people in.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things that attracted you to wrestling was, first it was Bryce, Orange Cassidy, and then people doing stupid shit.
Yep. Yep. High flying is probably my favourite style.
Yeah. Yeah, we sat in a really cold warehouse in Manchester to watch it when CMLL came over, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
But I think that's it for this week.
It's good. I think it's going to be. I haven't looked at the time properly, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a short week because it was quite a calm week in investing terms.
TK has found out about our podcast and was like, no,
No.
none of my wrestlers are going to jail. Thank you very much.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.